Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about ToObjectSpace and ToWorldSpace. So let's just get started. I'm going to insert a part into the workspace. I'm going to name it part A. And for now, this doesn't really matter where it is. So I can put it anywhere, make sure it's anchored. And then I'm going to add a script into workspace. And we can get started. So first thing we're going to be covering is world space. So ToWorldSpace. Basically, world space is the center of the map being the origin. So if I were to draw this, you can imagine this is our coordinate plane. And right here is the center, this is our origin. So any positioning we do from here is going to be based off this world space. So if we have a part here and we move it 10 studs upwards, then that's just normal positioning. That's just based on the world, right? We're moving it 10 studs upwards, so its world position would be -5 studs. And then 10 studs upwards. Now obviously this is 2D and Roblox is 3D, but it's the same idea. All you need to know is that this position is relative to the world, and the world is that center origin on the map. So this right here is the origin. Okay, so with that being said, how do we use this? So first thing I'm going to do is create a normal C-frame. I'll go C-frame equals C-frame.new 0,10, 0. Or this could be whatever, 0,5, 0. And we're going to get the part, so that the part equals workspace, comma wait for child, or we can say workspace.part. Okay, so if we're going to want to use ToWorldSpace, we're going to create a new C-frame. So we're going to be creating a variable that's going to hold this positioning of what we're doing. So I'm going to say local C-frame equals, or relative C-frame, we'll just call it relative C-frame, is part dot C-frame on ToWorldSpace C-frame. And then we would say part dot C-frame equals relative C-frame. Now if we run this, this is part A. It is just gonna move 5 studs upwards relative to the center of the world. Now I'm saying relative to the center of the world, and it's overcomplicating it. Really all we're doing is moving this part 5 studs upwards. This is just normal positioning. This is the exact same thing as just saying part.cframe equals part.cframe times cframe. It's the exact same thing. All it's doing is moving 5 studs upwards from its original position. That is ToWorldSpace, and it's pretty basic here. Now ToObjectSpace is where it gets a bit complicated in terms of sort of digesting it as an idea. So in ToWorldSpace, you have this as the center origin. This is the origin of the coordinate plane you're talking about, where you're moving everything. This center of the map is the origin. When we're saying ToObjectSpace, so I'm just gonna comment all this out, and now I'm gonna say ToObjectSpace. I'm gonna add another part. Just gonna put it here, call it part B, and so now we have part B and part A. Now what ToObjectSpace does, so imagine we have part A, part B. It gets the position of part B relative to the position of part A. So that's a bit confusing, but I'm gonna visualize it in a second for you guys. So imagine I write local relative C-frame equals part, let's get local part A equals workspace.part A, local part B equals workspace.part B. Right. Now what I'm going to say is part A dot C-frame on ToObjectSpace part B.cframe. Now this is this is confusing as it is. Before I explain this line, let me just visualize this for you guys. So imagine this is ToWorldSpace, with this being the origin. This is our origin, right? Any positioning you do, it's relative to the origin, but you don't really need to know that. It's just normal positioning. Just think of it as normal positioning, right? It's not that big of a deal. When it comes to ToObjectSpace, imagine you have a plane, but at that center of the plane, instead of being the center of the map, it's just the part that you specify. So this would be part A, right? So part A's centered. This is now going to be the origin is now going to be part A's C-frame rather than a normal world origin. So instead of the world's origin, the center of the map, think about it, the center of the map is now going to be part A's C-frame. And any positioning you do based off any positioning you do for part B or whatever part, if you're saying ToObjectSpace, you're saying where is part B located in part A's coordinate plane? Where is part B located in part A's coordinate plane? So if we think about this, if I have this written like this, or let me just comment this saying where is part B located in part A's coordinate plane? Where is part B located in part A's coordinate plane? And now if I print this, imagine we put these above each other like this. Part A is down here, part B is up here. If I run this, you'll see in the Y, it's 10 studs above. That is relative to this part A's coordinate plane. If I move this upwards, it's going to be a negative on the Y, because it's relative to this part. It's relative to part A. What we're saying is, if this is part B, and we're saying part A dot C frame ToObjectSpace part B, we're saying where is part B in terms of part A's positioning plane, coordinate plane. It's here, right? The difference is, imagine part A is here, and this is, now I'm going to get a little bit more confusing here, but imagine this is the center of the map. This is the world origin. So this is the world plane, the center of the map, right here, and this is part A's plane over here. If this right here is, let's just say, -3, 4, that's going to be part B's C frame in terms of being related to part A's coordinate plane. So that would be 3, 4, -3, 4. If we're thinking in world space, imagine this is 4, and this is, I don't know, 10. It would be 4, 10 in the world space. It would be 4, 10 in the world space. So it would be 4, 10 in the world space, and -3, 4 in terms of part A's coordinate plane. Now, why is this useful? What is the point of this? So what you could use this for, so imagine you want to adjust this part's position, and while you're adjusting this part, this is attached to this part while it's constantly moving without any use of welds or weld constraints or anything like that. So it's just doing it all in the C frame, all with C frame. So that's just one use case, and let me just show you how you do this. So this is the relative C frame of where part B is located in part A's coordinate plane. If we wanted to get this to be sort of artificially attached to part A, sorry, this is part A, this is part B. So in that, like, whenever we rotate it or whenever we move it in any way, this is always attached and this is always replicating its movements. We would use ToObjectSpace because we're going to be using part A's coordinate plane to be moving part B relative to part A. That's a lot of words there, but literally what we're saying is attach this to this just by using ToObjectSpace C frame. So in order to do that, we're going to create a while loop so that we can move the part A constantly and see see it adjusting. And then all we can say is the part we want to move that is being attached, so part B is being attached to part A, its C frame is equal to part A's C frame times the relative C frame. So if you think about it, part A C frame times relative C frame. This is the relative C frame in terms of part A relative to part A. Then what we're saying is part A times the relative position, which is this one, this position right here. As we're moving part A, set part B to the relative C frame at all times, constantly. Okay, so now we have that written. If I run this now, you'll see this is part A. So if I rotate this, you'll see that it's constantly moving based upon the C frame of this one. And C frame is rotation, is orientation and position. So as I'm rotating it, it's also doing that. If I move it, it also moves. So that is what ToObjectSpace and ToWorldSpace is. If you have any questions or if this video was confusing, let me know so I can make my videos better. Yeah, thank you guys for watching.